Commander Daniel Hayes stood in the observation dome of Earth Defense Command, looking down at the blue planet below. 3 years had passed since that terrible day when the Krell Collective ships appeared in human space. That day changed everything. Humanity almost died. They had come close enough that people on Earth could see the Krell, destroyers crossing the sky like burning clouds, but humans survived. They were still here because 3 alien species had warned them in time. The Krell ships turned back because they found a stronger force blocking their path. Those 3 species had been fighting the Krell for decades, and they knew how dangerous the enemy was. When they heard humans were being hunted, they came to help. That act of kindness saved billions of human lives. Now Daniel Hayes was making sure humanity would never be that weak again. The plan was simple, bold, and many people called it crazy. Hayes wanted to build more weapons than any civilization had ever built. Not a few massive cannons in protected positions. Not a strong fleet that could respond to threats. No, Hayes wanted to build so many giant guns that an enemy could not destroy them all. If an attacker destroyed 10 cannons, there would be 20 more hidden somewhere else. If they destroyed 100, there would be 100 more scattered across the planet and the colonies. It was not efficient. It was not elegant. It was excessive and paranoid. It was exactly what humanity needed. Admiral Lisa Crawford walked into the observation room carrying a data pad. She was a tall woman with gray in her hair and steel in her eyes. She had seen combat. She understood loss. She knew that hesitation killed soldiers. "The Colorado site is finished," Crawford said. She placed the datapad on the table between them. "That makes 342 operational installations. We are on schedule." Hayes nodded. "How many will we have by next year?" "At least 500. Maybe more if the factories keep producing parts. We are building them in caves, under mountains, underwater, on floating platforms. We are putting them everywhere we can think of," Crawford said. She looked tired. "People keep asking me if this is necessary. I tell them it is. I remember what those Krell ships looked like in the sky." The observation dome showed Earth in perfect detail. The planet was covered with construction. In the deserts of Africa, in the Canadian Arctic, in the deep oceans, in the mountains of Asia and South America, humans were building. Building and building. The scale of the project was almost impossible to understand. It was the biggest military construction program in human history. Dr. Kevin Patterson was the man making it possible. He was a brilliant engineer who had taken technology from 3 different alien species and made it work for humans. The guns he designed were not copies. They were improvements. They were simpler to operate, more reliable, and stronger than anything the original builders had made. Patterson had a gift for seeing what aliens could not see. He understood how humans thought differently. He understood human shortcuts. The 3 of them met in the command center. Hayes, Crawford, and Patterson sat around a table showing a map of Earth and the 7 human colonies in space. Each location showed a number. The number was how many giant guns were there or would be there soon. "This will break our economy," Patterson said, without preamble. He was a man who did not waste time with greetings. "We are spending 60% of human resources on weapons. 60%. Food production is down. Medicine development is slowing. Schools are closing because teachers are working in factories." Hayes looked at Patterson directly. "Then tell me how many guns we need to be safe from the Krell." Patterson did not answer immediately. That was answer enough. "Exactly," Hayes said. "We do not know. We do not know how many ships they have. We do not know if they are building more weapons. We do not know what they are planning. So we build enough guns that they cannot win no matter what they do. We build so many that they look at our world and think the cost of invasion is too high." Senator Margaret Foster arrived late to the meeting. She was the head of the Defense Committee, and she had power in Earth's government. She was angry about something. "I have 17 senators demanding we reduce this program," Foster said. She threw a document on the table. "They say we are bankrupting the planet. They say we are destroying our civilization to save it. They want you to explain how many giant guns is enough." Hayes stood up. He was not tall, but he moved like someone ready for a fight. "Tell them this," Hayes said. "The Krell Collective has tried to conquer 7 different civilizations. All 7 tried to fight back. All 7 were destroyed or enslaved. The ones who survived were the ones who understood that mercy is a luxury you only get after you win. Right now, Earth is still poor. We are still weak. We just got lucky and found allies. Luck does not last forever." Foster studied him for a long moment. "You really believe the Krell will come back?" "I know they will," Hayes said. "The question is whether they will find an easy target or a hard one." That night, Hayes walked through one of the gun installations under construction in Nevada. The desert air was hot and dry. Workers were fitting the final pieces into a massive cannon that could shoot plasma energy into space with enough force to destroy a warship. The installation was hidden inside a mountain. Only a small entrance showed. From the air, it looked like an empty rock. That was the idea. A young soldier approached him. Her name was Rebecca Chun, and she was a weapons specialist. She had been born on Mars and had never seen Earth until 2 years ago. She did not understand human fear the way people who had lived through the Krell scare understood it. "Commander," Rebecca said, "is all of this really necessary? It seems like too much." Hayes looked at the giant gun, still under construction. It was beautiful in its way. It was terrible in its way. It was both at the same time. "I hope it is not necessary," Hayes said. "I hope the Krell never come back. I hope we never fire a single shot from any of these weapons. But if they do come back, and if we do have to fight, then every gun we build today will save lives tomorrow. That is not too much. That is exactly enough." Rebecca nodded, but she did not look convinced. Hayes did not blame her. He was not entirely convinced himself, but he was certain about one thing. Humans had been given a second chance. They had been warned about the danger. They had been helped by friends who asked nothing in return. That meant they had a responsibility to be ready. Not hopeful, not peaceful. Ready. Ready meant guns. Lots of guns. Too many guns might not be possible when the price of being unprepared was extinction. That was what the next war would teach them, whether they were ready or not. The distress signal came in at 3 in the morning Earth Standard Time. Captain Robert Luna was sleeping in his quarters aboard the exploration vessel Endeavour when the alarm woke him. He was on his feet before his eyes were fully open. 20 years in space had taught him to move fast when alarms sounded. The Endeavour was 3 weeks away from Earth. They were surveying the outer rim territories that humanity had only recently claimed. These were empty spaces between stars, places where the Krell had never bothered to go. Luna thought they were safe here. The signal proved him wrong. Luna made it to the bridge in 4 minutes. His first officer, Sarah Hughes, was already there with the signal running on the main screen. It was weak and broken. It was also unmistakably Zenton. The Zentons were insects. Big ones. They walked on 6 legs and had arms that could move in ways human arms could not. They smelled bad to humans, but they were intelligent, and they had saved human lives during the Krell threat. Humans owed them. How long ago did this start? Luna asked. 47 minutes, Hughes said. She was young for a first officer, maybe 35, but she was sharp and fast. The signal location is in the Kelter system, 12 light years away. At full speed, we would arrive in 8 days. How many ships are lost? Luna asked. Unknown. The signal keeps cutting out. But listen to the message, Hughes said. She increased the volume. The Zenton voice was harsh and clicking, but the translation software made it understandable. The voice belonged to someone called Elder Maker. This is Zenton Colony 7 on the planet Kelter 3. We are under attack by Krull forces. Unknown number of warships. Casualty rate is severe. We cannot hold this position. We have evacuated non-essential personnel. We are protecting something important. Very important. If the Krull take it, the galaxy will fall into darkness. We request immediate assistance from our human allies. Please respond. Please help us. The message repeated, over and over. The same words, the same desperation, the same request for help that Luna knew was impossible. Dr. Alan Foster was the xenobiologist on the Endeavor. He had studied Zenton culture and biology for 5 years. He was already in the briefing room when Luna arrived. Foster was thin and nervous, always talking with his hands. The Zentons do not ask for help lightly, Foster said immediately. Their culture values self-reliance. If Elder Maker is broadcasting a distress signal, the situation is critical. They might be losing. Luna did the math in his head. 8 days to arrive. The Krull could destroy a colony in hours, days, maybe less. How long until Earth can send a fleet? Luna asked. 6 weeks minimum, Hughes said. Command just sent their response. They say to investigate but not engage. We are outgunned. Luna looked at the Zenton message. He thought about that species. Insectoid aliens that humans found strange and ugly and impossible to fully understand. But they had helped. When the Krull were hunting humans, the Zentons had stood beside humans and fought. Many Zentons had died in that fight. They had done it because it was right. Set course for the Kelter system, Luna said. Full speed. Captain, we will be arriving at a battle site with minimal weapons. We have a small crew. We will be destroyed, Hughes said. I know, Luna said. Send a message back to Earth. Tell them we are proceeding to Zenton Colony 7. Tell them a human ship is on the way. The journey took 8 days exactly. 8 days of Luna thinking about what he would find. 8 days of reviewing the Endeavor's weapon systems and knowing they were insufficient. 8 days of Dr. Foster telling him everything about what the Zentons might have that the Krull wanted. When they arrived in the Kelter system, Luna saw smoke. Not literally smoke, but the radiation from destroyed ships made the area look like an explosion frozen in space. The Krull battleships were still there, firing at the planet below. 3 Zenton warships were still fighting. That they were badly damaged. Luna had seconds to decide. He could run. He could report what he saw and wait for Earth. He could do the smart thing. He did the human thing instead. Raise shields. Launch all missiles, Luna ordered. Plot a course between the planet and the Krull fleet. The Endeavor was a small ship. It had maybe 10% of the firepower of even one Krull destroyer. But it had human pilots. Human pilots who made decisions that machines could not predict. Human pilots who understood desperation and turned it into action. The Krull were surprised. That surprise lasted 3 seconds. Then they stopped being surprised and started attacking. Luna felt the impact of the first hit. The shields held. The second hit made the deck shake. Alarms sounded. But the Endeavor was between the Krull and the planet now. The Krull would have to go through human firepower to reach the Zentons below. Communications, Luna said calmly. Send a message to Elder Maker. Tell them a human ship is here. Tell them we will buy them time. He did not know if they would survive. He suspected they would not. But humans had always been good at dying for causes that mattered. It was one of the things that made them strong. One of the Zenton ships fired a desperate volley at the approaching Krull destroyer. The shots connected. The destroyer slowed. Luna used that moment to target his own weapons and fire. The Krell ship turned its attention toward the Endeavor. That was what Luna wanted. They would not reach the planet. Not today. Not while a human captain had fuel in his engines and fire in his weapons. The battle lasted 2 hours. The Endeavor took damage. The crew was wounded. But the Zenton colony below was still fighting. Still holding. Luna did not know it yet, but he had just made a choice that would change the war before it even started. He had shown the galaxy that humans did not abandon their allies. That humans would stand in front of overwhelming odds and refuse to break. The Krell would remember that when they made their next attack. And they were definitely coming back. Luna was certain of that. Humanity had built all those giant guns for a reason. Now they were about to find out if they were enough. The Krell commander who attacked the Zenton colony was named Zethus. He was an old warrior by the standards of his species. His carapace was scarred from 100 battles. He had conquered 9 planets and destroyed 4 civilizations. He did not negotiate. He did not compromise. He won or he died. Those were the only options he understood. When the human ship appeared, Zethus made a calculation. The Endeavor was small and weak. It would die in minutes. His fleet would barely notice the damage it caused. But the human ship had proven one thing. Humans were willing to throw away their lives for nothing. For a failed colony. For a species that was not their own. That was either courage or stupidity. Zethus was not sure there was a difference. He broke off the attack on the planet and pursued the damaged human vessel. It was a test. If humans would die for an alien colony, what would they do for their own world? The answer frightened Zethus more than he wanted to admit. Captain Luna managed to get his ship away from the planet. The Endeavor jumped to faster than light speed with the Krell destroyer hanging back, not pursuing. Luna knew why. The Krell commander was making a choice. The colony was not important enough to chase a human ship. But the information was important. They now knew humans would fight. Luna made his way to a neutral station to make repairs. The Zenton colony sent a message. Elder Maker was alive. The colony was saved. And Elder Maker wanted to meet with Luna in person. The station was a gray and lifeless place, built by a species that no longer existed. It orbited a dead planet in a system with nothing valuable. That made it perfect for secret meetings. Luna brought only Dr. Foster with him. Elder Maker was a huge Zenton, nearly 3 meters tall. His carapace had patterns that indicated wisdom and age. He stood in the dimly lit meeting room and studied Captain Luna with eyes that had seen too much war. "You came," Elder Maker said. "Many human commanders would have run. You chose to stand with us. Humans are strange creatures, small, short-lived, weak by the measures we use. Yet you came. You helped us survive," Luna said simply. "That means something to my people." "It means something to us as well," Elder Maker said. He turned and placed a cylinder on the table between them. It was small enough to fit in a human hand, but it was heavy, made from a metal that seemed to shift between colors. "The Krell came for this. They will come again. You should know what it is." Luna picked up the cylinder. It was warm to the touch. "It is a key," Elder Maker said. 13,000 years ago, a civilization that we call the Precursors ruled this galaxy. They were not gods, but they were close to it. They had power over the fundamental forces of nature. Space, time, matter. They could do things that seem like magic to us. Foster leaned forward. "What happened to them?" "They destroyed themselves," Elder Maker said. "They built weapons to secure themselves against each other. Better weapons. Stronger weapons. More weapons. Eventually, the weapons were so many and so strong that when the first shot was fired, nobody could stop the cascade. Billions died. The civilization fell in decades. Luna understood immediately. And this cylinder? It is a repository of their knowledge. The precursors built it as a gift or a curse. We do not know which. It contains information about everything they knew. The Krell want it because they believe it contains secrets of power. Secrets that could make them rulers of the galaxy. But you said it requires something to activate, Foster said. A genetic key, Elder Maker confirmed. Only the descendants of the precursors can open it. The Krell do not have the genetic code. Neither do we. Neither do any species we know of. Then why do they want it? Luna asked. Because if they have it, nobody else can use it against them, Elder Maker said. Zethus, the Krell commander, is not foolish. He understands that the precursor knowledge could be used to build weapons so terrible that they make all current. Weapons seem like toys. He wants to prevent that. And he wants that knowledge for himself. Luna felt the weight of the cylinder in his hand. It was not heavy, but it suddenly felt like it was carrying the fate of the galaxy. I will protect this, Luna said. I will bring it to Earth. It will be safe there. Yes, Elder Maker said. That is what I hoped. The Krell will pursue you. They will pursue this artifact with everything they have. But humans are far from here. They are close to their home world. The Krell will follow, and when they do, your people will have to choose. Do you build walls and weapons to defend yourselves? Or do you try to make peace with an enemy that understands only conquest? Luna felt the question hang in the air. He thought about all those giant guns humanity had built. He thought about Commander Hayes standing in the Nevada desert, talking about hope and readiness. We will choose to survive, Luna said. He was wrong. When he arrived back at the Endeavor and set course for Earth, he learned that the Krell fleet was already gathering. Not the small fleet that had attacked the colony. A massive one. Hundreds of ships. More than Luna had thought existed. Zethus had made a decision. The human ship, the Zenthan artifact, the emerging human threat. They all pointed to one conclusion. The Krell had to act now. Before humanity became strong enough to resist. Before the younger species learned the secrets of the precursors, Luna sent an emergency message to Earth. Krell fleet incoming. Size unknown. They will arrive in 3 weeks. Prepare for invasion. Commander Hayes received that message in his office. He read it once. Then he read it again. He set the datapad down carefully and looked at Admiral Crawford. Tell every installation to go to full operational status, Hayes said quietly. Tell every gun to be ready. Tell every soldier to prepare for war. Crawford nodded. She had been waiting for this order for 3 years. Everyone at Earth Defense had been waiting. The war was finally coming. All the guns, all the preparation, all the paranoid building of weapons without end was finally going to be tested. Humanity was about to find out if too many guns was really possible, or if they had built just enough. The Krell fleet came in silence. They did not send a message. They did not demand surrender. They simply appeared on human sensors, a massive wall of warships crossing the edge of human space. Like a storm approaching a coast. Commander Zethus had brought 400 ships. The largest ones were the size of mountains. The smallest ones were still bigger than anything humans had ever built. When humans looked at that fleet, they saw their extinction approaching at faster than light speed. But humans had built something too. Dr. Kevin Patterson sat in the central command of Earth's defensive network. Around him, holographic displays showed thousands of locations across Earth and the 7 human colonies. Each location was a giant gun. Some of them had been completed just days before the Krell arrived. Many of them had never been tested in actual combat. Patterson had always believed they would work. Now was the time to find out if belief was enough. All sites reporting ready, a young technician said. She was only 23 years old, and her hands were shaking. We have 387 operational cannons on Earth, 211 in orbital platforms, 89 on the colonies. Full coverage of all approaches to human space. It was the most massive weapons network ever assembled by any civilization. It was also terrifying in its scope. Patterson did not think about that. He thought about the Krell ships and what they would do to Earth if they broke through. All sights lock on to the lead approaching formation, Patterson ordered. On my mark. Admiral Crawford was at a different station, coordinating the human fleet. The Endeavor was coming in hot from the outer colonies. Captain Luna had sent updates every hour. The Krell fleet was moving in a coordinated pattern. They were confident. They had crushed every civilization they had faced. The small human ships had barely slowed them down. Zethus did not expect much resistance from Earth. He had heard about human guns, primitive, weak, built by a species that had only recently discovered. Faster than light travel. His fleet could absorb any damage and still complete the mission. The precursor artifact was in human space now. The Zenthans had admitted as much in their transmissions. Zethus would take it. Zethus would use it. And Zethus would burn this world as a message to any other species that might resist. The Krell lead formation dropped out of faster than light speed and entered the solar system. 4 massive destroyers and 12 support vessels. They formed a wedge pattern, ready to assault Earth directly. Mark, Patterson said. Every giant gun on Earth fired simultaneously. The first volley of energy struck the lead Krell destroyer. The beam was thick as a mountain. The power output was greater than the total energy output of human civilization before the space age. The Krell ship's shields collapsed. The ship's hull started to melt. The destroyer exploded. Patterson blinked. He had expected them to fire. He had not really expected them to work so effectively. The second volley came from the orbital platforms. The Krell support ships tried to maneuver away. One of them managed to dodge. The other 11 did not. They broke apart under the concentrated fire. The remaining 3 destroyers from the first formation turned to engage the giant guns. But they did not know where the guns were. Earth had hidden them too well. Some were in mountains. Some were underwater. Some were on the far side of the planet. When the Krell ships fired back, they hit empty desert, empty ocean, empty sky. But they did not hit the guns. The guns fired again. Another destroyer fell. Then another. The third one launched a desperate attack on the continent where the main command center was located. An orbital platform detected the incoming strike and swapped position with a ground installation. The Krell destroyed an empty facility. They did not touch the command center. The battle had been going on for 4 minutes. 8 Krell ships were destroyed. The Krell had not damaged a single major installation. Zethus watched the reports come in from his command ship. His fleet was taking damage. His ships were falling. But he still had 392 vessels. The humans had surprised him once. That would not happen again. He sent another attack formation toward Earth. 50 ships. Enough to break through any defense that was not absolutely overwhelming. Patterson saw them coming. All installations fire at the incoming formation. The sky above Earth lit up with energy. The formation of 50 Krell ships faced not just 1 or 2 weapons. They faced hundreds. The guns were spread across an entire planet and beyond it. There was nowhere to hide from them. All 30 ships exploded in the opening seconds. The other 20 tried to scatter. Some dove toward the surface. Some tried to climb back into space. The giant guns adjusted. The guns were automated and fast. Faster than human pilots. Faster than Krell pilots. Just faster. 20 more ships fell. But this time, one got through. A Krell destroyer made it to the surface and fired a particle beam directly at a mountain installation in the Himalayas. The installation exploded. The gun was destroyed. Patterson felt nothing. One gun. They had 387 on Earth alone. The Krell fleet kept coming. More formations. Bigger ones. More desperate ones. The pattern was always the same. The Krell ships tried to break through. The giant guns from multiple locations fired at them. Some ships managed to dodge. Some managed to survive. But none of them got close to Earth. Zethus did not understand what was happening. He sent his entire fleet into the system. 400 ships attacking with no strategy except violence. They were used to overwhelming enemies with numbers. They were used to shields that could not hold. They were used to enemies that died quickly and broke easily. Humans were different. Humans had built a trap made from weapons. Not one great wall that could be broken. Not a line that could be overrun. A distributed network of guns, so many and so hidden that there was nowhere left to hide from them. The battle lasted 14 hours. At the end, only 117 Krell ships remained operational. The rest were destroyed or crippled. The Krell fleet had suffered losses that would have destroyed any normal civilization. But Zethus was a warrior. Warriors understood that sometimes you had to retreat in order to survive. He gave the order. The remaining fleet jumped to faster than light speed and left human space. They would not be back today. They might not be back for months. But they would be back. Krell Collective did not forgive. They did not forget. Patterson watched the sensor displays showing the fleeing Krell ships. His hands were shaking now. Not from fear. From the realization of what he had done. He had killed hundreds of ships. He had destroyed thousands of Krell lives. And the humans below had hardly fought at all. They had just activated weapons and let the guns do the dying. Captain Luna's voice came through the communication system. Earth Defense Command, this is Captain Luna. My fleet is standing by. Do you need support? Negative, Endeavor, Patterson said. The battle is over. We won. There was a long silence. Then Luna said, I can see the debris from here. There are so many destroyed ships. It looks like a graveyard in space. It does, Patterson said. He sat down heavily in his chair. It really does. Commander Hayes was watching the battle from his office. He had watched every moment of it. Every destroyed ship. Every explosion. Every moment where humanity's paranoid building of weapons proved to be exactly right. He should have been happy. They had won. Earth was safe. Humanity had proven it could survive. Instead, Hayes felt only tired and old. He had wanted to be ready. He had wanted to survive. He had achieved both. But looking at the graveyard of alien ships, he wondered if surviving was the same thing as winning. The victory was complete. The question now was what to do with it. 1 year had passed since the battle. The debris from the destroyed Krell ships had been collected and studied. Scientists from 3 different alien species had examined the remains. They all came to the same conclusion. Humanity's weapons were more advanced than anyone had thought. More effective. More terrifying. The government chambers of the Alliance of Civilizations were on a neutral station orbiting a star that belonged to nobody. Representatives from 12 different species sat in a circle. They looked at Earth's representatives, and nobody smiled. Commander Daniel Hayes stood before them. He was here to answer for what humanity had done. Or more accurately, he was here to explain why humanity was allowed to keep doing it. You understand our concern, said the Zeke representative. The Zeeks were a lizard-like species that had supported humans during the Krell War. You have built more weapons than all other civilizations combined. Your guns destroyed a Krell fleet that our combined forces could not have fought. You now possess power that frightens us. We built the weapons to defend ourselves, Hayes said. We had just been discovered by the Krell. We had barely survived their first attack. Every gun we built was built to make sure we would survive the second one. And you did survive, said the Vraken ambassador. The Vrakens had not supported humans. They had stayed neutral and watched the war. In fact, you did more than survive. You defeated the greatest military threat our galaxy has ever faced. That achievement makes us wonder what you will do with that power. Hayes had prepared for this. He had known that victory would bring questions harder than defeat ever could have. We will not use these weapons to expand our territory, Hayes said. We will not use them to conquer anyone. We built them to survive. We will use them to keep surviving. That is not a guarantee, said the Verum observer. The Verems were the eldest race in the galaxy, and they had seen civilizations rise and fall for millions of years. In fact, history shows us a pattern. A civilization builds weapons to feel safe. Other civilizations then feel threatened. They build their own weapons. Eventually, everyone has so many weapons that someone fires the first shot. And then everyone dies. The chamber went silent. Hayes knew the Verems were right. He had read the same history. The ancient precursors had destroyed themselves exactly that way. Then what do you suggest? Hayes asked. That we disarm? That we destroy the guns we have built? We suggest you remember why you built them, the Verem said. You built them because you fear being destroyed. You built them because you were weak and did not know how to be strong any other way. Now you are strong. The question is whether you learned anything from that experience except how to kill. The meeting ended without resolution. The Allied governments sent a formal request that humanity reduce its military capacity. They offered trade agreements and technology in exchange. Hayes listened and promised to bring the proposal to Earth's government. But Hayes knew what he wanted to do. That evening, Captain Luna visited Hayes at his residential quarters. They only met once during the war, but they had become friends through thousands of communications since. They understood each other in a way most people could not. Luna looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Krell were still regrouping. Somewhere else, the Zenton colony was rebuilding. Somewhere else, the three species that had helped humanity were wondering if they had made a mistake. The Allies want us to disarm, Luna said. They do, Hayes confirmed. Are you going to do it? Luna asked. Hayes did not answer immediately. He thought about that first day in the Nevada desert, looking at the giant cannon under construction. He thought about his dream of a humanity so well defended that no enemy could threaten it. The dream had worked. The guns had worked. But at what cost? The Verum was right, Hayes said finally. The precursors had the same idea we had. Build enough weapons to be safe. It did not work for them. It probably will not work for us. So you are going to disarm? Luna asked, surprised. No, Hayes said. But I am going to do something different. I am going to propose that we use the weapons we have built differently. Luna turned to look at him. Hayes explained his idea. It took an hour. When he was done, Luna was quiet for a long time. That is a risk, Luna said finally. If you give the knowledge of how to build these weapons to other civilizations, they might use it against you. They might, Hayes agreed. But if we keep the weapons and keep them secret, the other civilizations will eventually build their own anyway. They will build them out of fear of us. And then we will all be back where we started, with everyone pointing guns at everyone else. So you want to teach them? Luna said. Teach them to build guns as big as ours? I want to teach them to build defensive weapons, Hayes said. I want every civilization to have enough power to defend their own world. That way, no civilization can threaten another. Stalemate is not victory, but stalemate keeps everyone alive. Luna smiled. It was a small smile, but it was genuine. That is what you were really building all along. Not weapons. A balance. A way to make sure nobody could ever destroy anyone else. Something like that, Hayes said. The plan was approved by Earth's government with some resistance. The information was shared with the 12 civilizations of the Alliance. Some took it. Some did not. Slowly, over the next decade, other species began to build their own defensive networks. Nothing as large as humanity's, but large enough to matter. The Krell Collective did not come back. They sent small probing attacks, testing the defenses. Some made it through. Most did not. Eventually, they seemed to accept that Earth was not an easy target anymore. They turned their attention to easier prey. Commander Hayes retired from military service 5 years after the war. He was tired of command, tired of responsibility. He wanted to spend time on Earth, in places where the sky was still blue and guns did not fill the horizon. On his last day at Earth Defense Command, he walked through the old Nevada installation. The giant cannon was still there, dormant now, rarely activated. Young soldiers gave him salutes. He nodded to them and kept walking. A new recruit stopped him. "Commander Hayes, did we make the right choice? Building all those guns?" Hayes looked at the massive cannon. He thought about the Krell ships that had fallen to its fire. He thought about the billions of human lives that had been saved by that firepower. He also thought about the precursor repository, sitting in a vault on Earth, containing the knowledge of how to build weapons that could destroy entire stars. Knowledge that no civilization had attempted to use. Knowledge that stayed locked because everybody now had enough power to defend themselves. "I think we made a choice," Hayes said. "We built weapons because we were afraid. The weapons kept us alive. That was good. But the real lesson is that we should try to be peaceful enough that we never need those guns. The guns should be insurance against the worst, not the foundation of how we live. Did we achieve that?" The young soldier asked. "We are trying," Hayes said. "That is all anyone can do. Try. And hope that trying is enough." He walked out of the installation into the desert sunlight. Behind him, the giant cannon stood silent and ready. Around the world, hundreds of others stood silent and ready. They had won a war. They had kept humanity alive, but they had also taught an important lesson: that too many guns spread among too many people could create a balance where nobody dared to fire the first shot. It was not peace. It was not safety. It was not victory. It was survival. And for a small species standing alone in a hostile galaxy, survival was sometimes the greatest achievement of all.